Is we live? I think we live. Hold on. Is they loading up? All right, yeah, we live. Give me a second. Help me share it real quick, Satel.
All right.
Uh, give me just a second, y'all. I'm gonna get started. Oh, I gotta come out of here. Yeah, I can come out of there. Damn, right. This. Hope I ain't messing nothing up. All right, we live now. Oh shit, I see you shining already. I see them popping up on there. Stepping around. Yeah, I'm finna go ahead and jump into it. Let me get off of here. Yeah, bear with me just a second. Let me put this dude in here. I put the email addresses in there. I don't know why it ain't acting right. Hold on, Sean. I'm finna put you in here. Is Sean in there? Hold on. Hold on. Here, let me go in here and
look. Yeah, here.
Well, what is he talking? What is Big Head talking about? He talking about something about the link. He just popped out of here. I just seen him in here too. What happened, Sean? I guess he'll pop back in here in a minute. Yeah, we finna jump into it. One more time. Oh, that's the Sutek, if you that goes Sean. All right. I want to say if you done download the app, Sutek, you can get in here. You can get in here. Y'all share the show, like the show. Peace, peace, Mikael, one. Peace, Sister Juju. Peace, Sutek. Peace, everything. It's everything. Yeah, I want to say dua aku dua necha fatmu lafiye fatmu iwa pele majuba iba ilagba majuba iba ilagba okay majuba iba igungun majuba iba igungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I want to say Black African Power. Welcome back to Kofi Pieside TV. I got brother Any Red Sean California, Satepara Mary Amen on the panel. Y'all brothers got anything, man, before I jump into part 2 of this presentation?
Nah, I ain't got nothing, man. I'm ready to get it popping. I hate I missed that first one, so I'm gonna have to go back, but it's definitely gonna be a good one.
Let's go.
You share the screen. Let me turn my camera off. I do that every time.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment and captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
Raising my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I share. Bring Brooklyn, I share. I'm raising my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I share. Bring Brooklyn, I share.
Share. Right now for black. All right. Today's presentation is part 2 of why animals are important in African culture. All right, I already had to put a disclaimer here before I get started. I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information, and that information provided is for the educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research or have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation, to shut down, sell, or exchange, to change the terms or use at my own discretion. All trademark, design rights, copyrights, registers, names, mottos, logos, avatars, insignias, and marks used or cited by this website or their property of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available in the future. Comes available, or adapt, changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs wanted, changes, and deletions are encouraged. This is my saying, as I learn, we all learn. And let's get this culture. All right. African relies heavily on the use of symbols and communicating ideals of the universal understanding of our connection to all living kingdoms. Africans believe that all life is one and a manifestation of the one creator. Ancient Egyptians or the Remit stressed a divine in animal as animal/headed humans and human-headed animals, as well as a combination of multiple animals in one form. Africans also believe that because the creator positioned humans at the center of the universe, animals are designed as servants of human beings as such, or to be used by them as they deem fit. The African relationship with the animals clearly demonstrate the African profound understanding and the connection of the natural world. Hold on, y'all. Rituals and sacrifice. Animals play a role in daily living, economics, and multitudes of other ways in African life. Within a hierarchy of life and balance of order, animals were created with the purpose by the divine as a need by humans. Animals are used for fundamental survivals as well as for spiritual and religious purpose. Animals are used in stock keeping rituals where people basically slaughter animals for food. Their rituals associate with the process because they usually bless the animals to remove all the intentions to promote clean composition. Here is a picture of a brother here. Um, Excuse me. Here who done slaughtered an animal for a food source. Here is another brother here that slaughtered an animal, look like a zebra, here for food source. Animals are used in many regions as African cultural purposes. For instance, animal skins are used to wrap corpse, while hides, the tusks, are used to make musician instruments. And we talked about this in the first presentation. I showed you where we talked about the hemp netcher using the uh, the leopard skin, or they're using certain fabrics or textiles for the animals. As well as I showed you in the first presentation, I showed you an antelope horn that was used as a music instrument, as well as two different drums. The skin is used for the surface or at the top, the antelope or the cow skin used um, for the base of the drum. Additional animals' blood is used as a food without need to kill it. For instance, in Uganda, Sudan, Tanzania, Nigeria, and Namibia, rituals accompany the preservation of animals and the people because of the animals are allowed to live. So you can see here the blood of the animal is also not only just them, the animals used as a food source for their survival, but also the blood is used also as a food source for their survival. If you look in Sudan, you look at the Kagera people, you look at the Hamada people, as well as few other ethnic groups in Sudan, they use the animal blood as a food source at a certain particular time of the year. It is a widely held belief that the killings of animals may spare individuals as well as a collective life. In the context, animals are thus slaughtered in the effort to safeguard the community. It is also consists of understanding that the life of an animal is passed on to the people to which they are closely connected, to strengthen to protect them. In this respect, both wild and domestic animals are sacrificed. The most typical and domestic animals are used in the process of sheep, goat, cattle, dogs, or fowls, while animals are used in the rain-making ceremonies, as well as to chase many epidemics of the public danger and the purification of environment. Here I have a small video of Brother Ben where he talk about the blood. We just talked about the animals used as a food source as well as the animals' blood used as a food source. We also where they have daily rituals or rituals pertaining to different ceremonies where they sacrifice different animals, particularly goats, sheep, and other different birds, chickens, and other different animals as a sacrifice. And Brother Ben, right here in this, go ahead.
Stole my video.
Yeah, I stole your video.
See, this is what I'm talking about right here. So I'm talking about y'all.
But yes, I got it because the exchanging of blood or exchanging of energy Brother Ben breaks it down very particular. One of the brothers that I think is a Hebrew Israelite, he asked about sacrificing and what is the blood used while sacrificing, used for sacrificing. So here's a video. What you gotta do with? Oh, you look over there. Hold on, y'all. You gonna have to. She got some change? No. Oh, well, you gonna get. I ain't got the $3 in that thing if she ain't got no change. Sorry, y'all. Hold on one second. All right, sorry about that, y'all. But let's get into the video where our brother Ben breaks down the exchanging of energy and blood sacrifice according to African traditions. The video may look a little funny because I don't know why. Maybe because Sean made the video and put it on the master, so that may be why it's gonna look a little funny.
Man, that ain't why, man. Wujawu was recording with Ben's cell phone. So this is pretty much cell phone footage. And the Hebrew brothers in the front row asked Ben a question. And this is Ben's response.
Beliefs. She said, but here we don't have the same emphasis on blood. We actually believe you're not supposed to shed blood. And that the people who do a lot of the animal slaughters are bringing a curse on themselves from our cultural perspective. This is what she's saying. She says, for us, the connection is to herbs. And that instead of having a sacrifice, it'll be a certain herb that represents a certain spirit or something of that nature. So what is your views on the role of blood in African spirituality and its variations?
My view on blood, and I know this is a touchy subject for many, right? So animal sacrifices. The reason why is blood moves us all, right? We all have blood in our bodies. We all arteries, integral veins, different things that make our heart beat. You know, without blood, we're done, right? So blood to the African tradition is the highest concentration of energy you can have. So when you are interacting with certain other energies, it's an energy exchange because nothing is free in life, right? So there has to be some type of exchange to get whatever you want to happen to happen. Just like if you want to buy a book in here, you can't come up here and be like, hey, brother, I'm good for it. I'll see you next week. You know?
So we'll see you next week.
Yeah, you're going to see me. I'm going to pop up at your house. so that energy exchange has to happen, right? So we use the highest concentrated energy. So that is the tradition, and that is the reason why. I do know that some places don't do it. It's not a universal concept throughout Africa. Most places do see it, but you will find these popular places that are like, no, we do it this way. And
Hold on, let me pause it. It's pouring down, y'all. Can y'all hear the video pretty good? If y'all can't hear the video pretty good, I don't know, Sean. Will I have to go back out on my thing to turn my speaker off for it to play in here because it's raining pretty bad. I can't even hardly hear it from the rain on the outside.
Yeah, you may have to exit. Well, you may not have to exit that. You may can hover over the little stream with an icon to pop up, and then on the right hand side you can click, you know, the little button that I was talking about. I think that it's options or whatever on the far right hand side, and then it should click up play through computer audio. You know what I'm talking about?
No, it ain't letting me do it on here. Can y'all hear it from out there, y'all? Or with the video straight? Could y'all hear it clear? Because it's raining.
I can hear it.
You could hear it. Well, I might keep on playing if they say they can hear. I know it's a delay. I just want to make sure everybody able to hear what Brother Ben is talking about. It done kind of slowed down, rain kind of slowed down, but it was going out pretty hard. I couldn't even hardly hear it. The noises usually get canceled out with smartphones. I don't hear the rain. He said he doesn't hear the rain. Turn volume up. The volume is up, Sister Juju. Hold on. I'm finna try something different. I'm trying to see without me having to go back out of it. See, I'm in here. Share computer sounds. So that's it right there. Share computer sound, right, Sean?
That's correct.
Okay. But don't it supposed to automatically mute me too, or I just mute myself?
Nah, you can mute yourself, or you can leave your mic open. It's not gonna play through your mic. It's gonna play through the computer.
Of exchange to get whatever happened to happen. Just like if you want to buy a book in here, you can't come up here and be like, "Hey, brother, I'm good for it. I'll see you next week." You know?
Sure will see me next week with money.
Yeah,
Not the book.
Yeah, you gonna see me. I'm gonna pop up at your house. So that energy exchange has to happen, right? So we use the highest concentrated energy for that exchange. So that is the tradition, and that is the reason why animals are usually sacrificed. I do know that some places don't do it. It's not a universal concept throughout Africa. Most places you'll see it, but you will find these pocket places they'll be like, "No, we do it this way." And the reason she said herbs, there's nothing you do in African spirituality without herbs.
Right.
Like that's what it is. Herbs are the medicine. We were just looking at something today where they say over 7,000 compounds of medicine are taken from Africa and put into our medical system. Right. So the herbs heal you, right? So I don't have a problem with her saying that. But in West African tradition, they use both. They use herbs, they use energy, they use everything in kind of a compounded solution for your problem. Many what people call sacrifices or ekba come with herbs after, called akoshe. So akoshe usually is coming with your energy exchange. So West Africans, they tend to do both, as well as Central Africans tend to do both. But we're not here to judge other traditions, right? If they can't get with it, that's fine. Right. But being that she's from Southern Africa, I wish she'd go talk to some of them Sangomas. Because them Sangomas are some bloody priests, boy. Right. Get it in. But we all have to stay within our culture, right? And our traditions. So we don't want to become white people and start judging other people's traditions and tell them you can't do that because I said so and we're going to wipe you out. You know what I'm saying? So
Can I have a follow-up?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, let me say something. That's the oldest tradition on planet Earth. It's blood and sacrifice. It is what it's the Vikings, European, the Hebrews. You can go to the book of Exodus when Moses takes a bison, splits the throat, and fills up the basin, and he sprinkled on the people. Right. I'm just giving you a visual, right? That was the Christians was the ones scared a little bit. They say Jesus did what? Died.
I'm not gonna play. Can y'all hear me now, Sean?
Yeah. Why
Okay.
you didn't finish it up?
I didn't want to play the whole video.
Right, okay, I didn't want to run your presentation, my bad.
Yeah, don't run my presentation. But yeah, I just wanted to play some of the video where Brother Ben was actually talking about blood being the highest form of concentration, energy, some type of energy exchange. So hold on. God darn. Y'all still hear me, Sean? Hello?
Man, stop asking us and talk.
All right, man. I don't know, man. It seemed like my audio went on, but all right. But let's go into the next slide.
Nah, bro, you good. You good.
Okay. Hold on.
Beliefs.
She
said, but here we don't have the.
All right. Animals are used as a traditional medicine and ritual ceremonies as a homage to the deity and as a way of soliciting his or her help while connecting to the realm of the spirits. Animal blood is used in libations as an offering to the ancestors, as well as a fortified the soil and makes it more fertile. For medicine men, the reliance of animals is critically to the provisions of the treatments of diseases. Myths and totems. In conjunction with breeding, domestication, hunting, and labor animals are symbolized in the myth. They are shaped African people reality and further defines their relationship with the universe. In many African cultures, animals are particularly featured in the cosmetically myths because they exemplify the ability to convey sacred power and messages. And I talked about this a little bit dealing with the myths, the folklores, and the folk tales, and we'll get into another one, but I gave you one in part one where we talked about the Kikuyu people and their cosmology or their creation story, dealing with the chameleon, and dealing with the bird. The chameleons, birds, and lizards in African culture, particularly, are messengers. When you're dealing with the creation stories, or you just dealing with their folk tales or their folklores, they are particularly messengers. So I gave you a folk tale or a myth according to the cosmology of the Kikuyu people dealing with the chameleon and the first. And as I stated in part one, in a lot of their creation stories or their cosmological stories, their folklores, their folk tales, and their legends, animals are the head characters in these stories. In myths, animals are used known as totems and play a key role in identifying constructions of the individual clans and ethnic groups. With the origins of humankind in Africa, this same mode of expression is attested in many other cultures and revealed in daily communication, such as with oral and literal tradition. Here is another one from the Kikuyu people we're talking about, which again, the animals are the center of the cosmological stories, the folklores, the folk tales, and their legends. Now, here was another Kikuyu story with their creator, Nagawa. We're talking about the hippopotamus. The hippopotamus. I'm gonna read a little bit and then I'll just talk the story out like I did in part one, that's dealing with the myth. What I gave you with the Gunner King, the leopard, and the Nasi, the spider. Nasi getting his revenge on his friend, the lizard, after he revealed the king of Ghana three daughters' name. But anyway, the Kikuyu people believed in the days and long ago when the god Lord Nagawi made his plans for all the creations upon his earth, and he made a hippopotamus as an animal of the forest and plain. But the hippopotamus was greedy and finding plenty of food all around him with no enemies to worry about. He grew fatter and fatter and fatter, and the fatter he grew, the more he suffered from the heat equator midday sun. So I'm not going to read all of it, but just going into the story, as the hippopotamus was created, he ate and ate, he began to get fat, began to uncomfortable. You know, the heat was just awful for him. And according to the folklore, or the hippopotamus began to go to the water every day to drink from the lake. And he began to admire the little fish that the creator created in where he drunk from every day, where he drunk from the river every day. So he admired them because the fish was cool. The mountain in Kenya, the ice melted from the mountain in Kenya and slid down into the river and made the waters cool for the little fish. So the hippopotamus was admired the little fish because they was cool and he was always uncomfortable and hot. So one day the hippopotamus went to the creator, Nagawi, and asked, could he remove him from the forest and the plain to be and exist in the water? And Ngawi did not, told him no, he did not want him to get to be a part, to be in the river, to stay cool, because he was going to eat up all the little fish. And later on, the hippopotamus, he wallowed down every day to drink from the river, and at the fish gaze, he swam coolly, with the sigh how wonderful it would be, like Ngari's little fish, to clear, cool, refreshing water. So again, he continued to admire and admire the little fish because they stayed warm from the ice floating down from the mountain. This is according to the story. So again, the hippopotamus went to the creator, and he was hot, he was uncomfortable, the fish was cool. So the creator, Ngami, ended up granting the hippopotamus the wish, granting him the wish to be to exist in the river. And as he granted him the wish to be in the river, before he granted him the wish, the creator asked, how will I know you not to eat all of my creation? He's talking about the fish that's in the water, because the hippopotamus was greedy, ate everything in plain sight. So the hippopotamus told him certain things that he would do. The creator told him no. So the hippopotamus, according to the myth, told him that every day that the creator would know that he has not ate any of his other creation, where he's talking about the fish in the sea, the fish in the river, he would come aboard land every day and use the bathroom, his dung, and his dung will be spread out where the creator in the sky will be able to see. There's no fish bones or anything for him to stay granted into the river. So this is just one of the myths according to the Kikuyu people. And again, each cosmological story, each folklore, each folk tale has animals in there. And if you missed the first one with Anansi, I know there's different stories with Anansi the spider, but Anansi the spider and the lizard. And so go check that out on part 1. Their connections to the natural world motivated the ancient Africans to identify themselves as animal totems, the best fitted of the embodied the power and ability to particular animals. The ancient Africans paid respect and held animals to the highest regard because they believed that specific animals possessed certain characteristics or features of the gods who revered them. It was one of the ways that the divine could manifest itself from human perceptions of and understanding. The animals chosen as totems reflect the Africans' understanding and themselves and their connection to nature. Africans also regarded animals as an archetype or an aspect of the incarnated gods. The animals were not gods, but representations of an aspect of its similar association with the Ba, the spirit/soul on earth. The highest esteem for animals went so far as to be associated with the divinity. Gods of human beings in the future lives had an ability to shapeshift or transform into any animals in other life forms. And you hear this particular story when you deal with the people in East Africa, the Shan people. The Shan people believed in people was able to communicate with the animals, and the animals was able to communicate with them, until later on the ability to communicate with the animals or shapeshift. This according to the story with the San people in East Africa. Y'all can go back and look up the San people and their culture and their tradition, and it explains them why they revered the animals and why they believe that in a particular time or in a particular era, animals was able to communicate with the humans and the humans were able to communicate with the animals. They say now that since they lost this sense, according to the Shan people, that the hunters as well as the priests are able to still has this aspect or this characteristic where they're able to communicate and understand from different animals. And I showed you a picture in part 2. I showed you a picture on a rock where they deal with the antelope and this shape-shifting type of being that they carved on the rock. I forgot the name of the rock that they carved it on, but it's in part 1. Whenever they desire, this is an intimate respect led them to mummy and treat the bodies of deceased animals like that of a human body for the same purpose of the afterlife of mortality. The philosophical is directly tied to their understanding of gods and the mobilities of the soul after death. And we see a lot of this in the Remish culture, mummification. And we see that they revere a lot of their animals, where they mummified some of their animals as well. Here is a jackal, which we know of as that is associated with Impu. Impu, we know Impu according to the Ramich stories as well. He is in a nature of Ibaman. So here is a jackal here that has been mummified. The Egyptian mummified cat. Here, animals were mummified in ancient Egypt or Kemet for thousands of years, either to allow favorite pets to follow its owner into the afterlife. And this was the particular reason why they mummified their animals, so that animals can be with the owner in their afterlife, or as an act of worship to a nature within the animal code. Cat mummies offered would have been intended by the goddess Beset, also known as Bes. Mummifications involve removing the internal organs dying out of the body, embalming and wrapping the layers in linen. And this here is from the Natural History Museum. This is in London. So again, they revered certain animals and they wanted certain animals to follow their owners into the afterlife according to the Ramich culture. And I also talk about the goddess Beset or Bes, but the Beset and Bes was had these cat forms, but they was not the only one had these cat forms. Sekhmet was also in the form of a cat or a lion. Also, you have Ra. Ra was also the great cat. Among the many animals respected by the ancient Africans in a particular significance for the scarab and the dung beetle, because it represented the allegory term for soul journey. The scarab is a symbol because of its connection to the human kingdom. For instance, it is born in water, also known to the ancient Africans as a universal life force of substance of earth, life. It is also a symbol of purification or cleanses of balance. The scarab process of procreation is also an interest because it is oriented by the life and follows the movement of the sun, which they does say the scatter of the dung beetle do. The scatter pushes the dung in the direction that the sun is traveling. That's why they associate the scarab as a solar deity, say it is connected to the solar system or connected to the universe, and it pushes the dung beetle in the direction that the sun is particularly going. Finally, the scarabs always create a ball of dung in a perfect sphere, much like the own planets of other celestial bodies. And we know this is all. The scarab is also another form of the most revered nature in Kemet, which is Ra. Ra is Kepra, and buried in its earth for 28 days for exact cycle of the moon. Listen to this. Much like the own plant, hold on. Finally, the scarab always creates a ball of dung in a perfect sphere, much like our own planet and other celestial bodies, and buries it in the earth for 28 days, the exact cycle of the moon and the female menstrual cycle. The scarab beetle reminds women and men to apprehend to the natural laws of nature as it works diligently at maintaining order. The scarab was associated with the solar nature, the resurrection of Kepra. We know that Ra would travel into the west, into the Duat, as we talked about in part 2, into the Duat, or what they would call those 12 hours, or in the, those 12 dynasties, 12 worlds. He will travel until he is risen in the east in the morning time as Kepra, who was also connected with the new life of the creation of Amen. Here is another depiction of the dung beetle rolling, the dung beetle rolling the dung. Another animal worth noting is the dog or the jackal, as represented by Impu, whose ears are erected and open. This is the link with the jackal coherent ability to hear beyond the capable of a human ear. This is a wooden statue here. This is in the House of Eternity by King Tut, wood carving with black resins, glid ears, such and such. I'm not going to read out of it, but this is also in the Cairo Museum. The serpent of the Urias. usually depicted on the front of the king's crown, symbolizing upright readiness and the enlightenment soul. The cobra is also associated with the fertile goddess Rennet, depicting nursing children and protecting the pharaoh. And we know that the serpent is also another form of the most revered deity, Ra, as well. And in the Dua, as me and Sean talked about in part one, a lot of the serpents are in the different hours, particularly most of all of the hours, but I think except the last 2 or the last 3 hours in the Dua or the underworld or the neither world. Here is a picture here. I think this is the picture of Ramesses. I think this may be the second, and you can see the Urias or the snake in on the front. Here is another cobra and the vulture on the brow of one of the kings here. Here is another one. This is a granite. This is granite sphinx with the. This is the head of Tahaka. You can see the snakes on front of the head here. This is one. This is a royal. This is royal women. Generally wearing a single cobra on their brow. However, elevated to the goddess, they were awarded the vulture for protection and the recognition of their status. So it was also for a status and some type of status and recognition, and the snake was also used as a form of protection. This can be seen on the wall paintings above Atmos Nefertiti, where both vultures and the cobra representing her royal as a divine status. And again, this is in the Egyptian Museum of Berlin. This is from Atmos Nefertiti. It's a painting. Here is another one. This is the king. This is the king's wife. And the wife mother is set. You can see here she has the snake above her head. This first royal female to wear a 2 cobra was the second. Oh man, can y'all hear me? Pretty good. My thing popped up here saying that my internet is unstable. Can y'all still hear me? I'll move on when somebody say they can hear me. I don't want to be sounding like no robot. I know every time that unstable thing come up there, it says that you good. Okay. All right, but yeah, this is from the first royal female to wear the 2 cobra, the Set, who was the wife of Thutmose II, Akra Aku Ak, who is Khepra Ra, 1492 to 1496 BCE, and the mother Thutmose III. Menkaperra 179 through 125 BCE. On the statue above, it said takes the title mother of the king, and it is possible that the dual cobra were intended to distinguish her in this role as opposed to the royal wife. Unfortunately, not enough statues survive to know whether the consistence were a dual version or a royal motif. The royal wife of Amenhotep, Neb Ma'at Ra, and she has the triple snakes on her head. This is from 1388 to 1351 BCE. Tai wore two cobras of a vulture and her representation. Where I said 3, so it's 2. Let me see. It's kind of damaged. I don't know where the vulture would be at. Maybe in the middle of the head. As you can see from the statue above, the cobra and the vulture wears their appropriate geographical crowns, thus representing the unification of the 2 lands of Kemet. The central figures of the vulture appears because the royal wife wears a full vulture headdress. If you look carefully on the statue above and below, you can just see the feathers of the vulture wings sitting on the top of her head. And I'm trying to see, I don't see that. But this is a fragment statue of Tai, the wife of Amenhotep, Neb Ma'at Ra, on the right hand side. Ancient Africans also connected closely to birds such as the storks, which symbolizes the Ba and the soul, as well as a falcon or a hawk. Because of the protective power it possesses, it was linked with royalty and seen as a guardian of the ruler of the furthermost, associated with the solar Neter Haru, similar to the ibis of the Aku bird, was considered an aspect of the soul, as was represented by Jehuti. the god of or the nature of knowledge. As in case of Jehuti, more than one animal is often connected to the deity, and the same can be said to Amun and his personification as the ram and the goose. Here is a stork. The sacred animal ibis bird that is a personification of Jehuti. We know Jehuti also has the baboon form as well. Here is hawk, the eagle, which is a representation again to royalty. You will see Hekharu, Haru, or Husir, and other etc. Ra and other netters has this form of a hawk or eagle. Here is the ostrich is yet another bird that was associated with Ma'at, the personification of order, justice, and balance. Another animal equal importance is the cat as a personification as Bas, also connected to the sun god Ra, which we talked about early in one of those scenes of Ra being the great cat selling the bark boat in the nether world with Set helping to defeat and protect Ra from a pet. And we know the ostrich feather is also associated with the Neteret Ma'at, which represents peace, justice, order, reciprocity, balance, and etc. The great cat who appears in the image of Ra, the almighty sun god Ra, represented as the great cat slaughtering with his knife the cursed snake Pep, the enemy of the Neter-Uz. Its body is riddled with stab wounds from where the blood flows out west in the head, where the great cuts is fixed firmly on the ground by the paws of the great cat. The great cat smiles with slaying the cursed snake from the house. This is from the house of eternity of Enoch Amun. This is in Waset or Thebes. Here is a depiction from the tomb of Nefertari and Luxor. This is the Neter Ma'at, and you can see the ostrich feather on top of the head here. The ancient Egyptian carving of a cat, sometimes known as Baset, outer walls of the temple of Horus of Ekfu. This is in Egypt, in Kemet. Furthermore, the lion is one of the most well-known examples of a depiction of the head of the Sphinx. The lion personifies the rising of the setting sun, guarding the horizon. Lions are also linked to the solar deities and many Nasut deities, as well as Sekhmet, who possesses the head of the lioness. The Great Sphinx of Giza's constructed dates as subjects to an ongoing scholastic debate. The huge monument standing in line of Khafre pyramid is still a mystery. Yes, it is still a mystery. There are so many different dates according to the Haru Aketi, or what you would call the Great Sphinx. So many different dates dealing with this monument. Some said the Sphinx was created during the building pyramid stages with Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. Some say that the Sphinx was created even before you get to the step pyramid. The form of the face with the Nasut face on there, it was a complete lion at one time. It was other different forms of animals at different times, according to the different what they will call it. I can't even remember what they will call it. Hey. But yes, there's so many different dates surrounding the Harugan Keti. Here is the temple. It is a scene of the west wall, a sanctuary, a king burning incense and pouring libations before two images of the Neter Ra Haketi, both lion-headed on one as the left wearing a solar disc holding Uriah scepter and a knife, while one right holds the Ankh and flails, the Unis scepter. This is from the drawing, the Temple of Ibis of El Karas Oasis. This is part 3 of Norman D. Gras. This is from plate 2. Here is Sekhmet as the great lioness. Here are my sources here. I keep it paused for a minute. Hold on, and see, I mixed it up. And let me go here. I'll come back to my sources. But here, all animals are very important in African culture and tradition. They play vital roles in African cosmology, stories, their legends, folklores, and folk tales. Animals provide food for humans and are sources of social wealth and standings. Through totems, they also distinguish relationships among members of the communities. Animals are used for instruments, clothing, textiles, containers, and other uses for animal African communities. Animals are used in everyday ritual life in every African culture. When learning how to, we learn how to build out of mud, watching and studying animals, and we learn hunting and battle styles from animals and nature. Now, animals animals is not only important in African culture; they are important over here in each society across the world. But I just gave y'all how important it is in African culture. African animals are important. Again, we learn certain things from animals. Again, we learn how to build things. We learn how to look at the lion. We learn how to look at the wolf and the techniques that they use when they was hunting. So we emulated the style, or our hunting styles came from the animals. Also, when you look at, we study how animals battle each other. So we study different techniques from different animals and got our techniques from these animals. Animals also used for our survival, so we use them as a food source. And also we use their blood as a food source, as well as their blood as energy transferring energy and etc. When we deal with the ceremonies that deals with the sacrifice, the ritual sacrifice, and etc. We use animals in our writings. If we go back and you look at part 1, we deal with the writing system. The Remich use the animal symbols in their sesh, in their writing. Also, in our cosmological stories, I know a lot of us is familiar with West African cosmological stories, legends, folklores, and folk tales, and most of the starting characters in those stories are animals. A lot of us in particular are familiar with the Anansi story dealing with the spider. I gave you another story dealing with the leopard. With the leopard is also a totem of the people, other Kikuyu people in East Africa, as well as the lion is another totem. And these animals cannot be killed or sacrificed because they are totem, and they're also the animals or the animal totems become a identification mark for different tribes. The elephant may be a particular, let's just say that you may have the Shan people and the Shan, no, let's just deal, because the totem for the Shan is the antelope. So the antelope will be an identification mark for the Shan people who are also in in South Africa. That will be their totem. You have others like the lion will also be a part of the Shawnee people, not the Shan, but the Shawnee people. The pale fox, when I talk about the pale fox, will be another animal totem to the people in Mali, the Dogon people. These people revere these fox, and their divination system had the pale fox marking. The clothing had the pale fox mark on them. The kids had clothing with the fox and particular things in high regards of certain animals. Certain other tribes that revere the elephant, the giraffe, the snake. You can see in Kemet. The snake was also very revered. A lot of the snake represents some type of royal status for the queen and the king. The snake also represent a form of protection. When we get into the doo-wop, now the snake may particularly have another aspect of chaos, confusion, evil when we deal with the serpent, Apep. But the animals are very important in African society. It was also used for instruments. They used the skins to bury people with, the skin for clothing. You know what I'm saying? Animals, certain horns and tusks and stuff was used for horns. Skins were used for drums and etc. So animals are very, very important in everyday African society. Trying to see anybody. The Kamba tribe, the Kenya revered the elephants and say that they use to be humans. Yes, I heard some about that too as well, brother Sutik. The animals were war tactics are still being used in governments today. That's a fact. I don't see anybody got no questions in here. What about in y'all on the brother Satep and brother Inherit Sean Calfunny? Y'all still on here?
No questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Clear.
Huh?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, when you speaking on battle techniques and forms of war, humankind, we've always mimicked animals. I don't know how many people watch kung fu flicks, but in karate, you have different forms, fighting styles, and they're patterned after animals.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe anybody in the military can check this. The tank was invented around
The elephant?
the elephant. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was modeled, and back in the day, elephants was actually used in war as well too. So we got a real deep connection with animals. Go ahead, Sean.
Nah, man. I concur with everything, man.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, but they say the elephant was the first form of a tank, and I read some information on that a while back here, Satep. So yeah, we've been mimicking animals for well, even when you get to and it's gonna be in another one of my presentation, what the people they were Mitch, their war tactics were mimic after the after a wolf. And I'll get into the deity of the wolf because I don't want to give it away because it's gonna be like it's gonna be fun, but it's gonna be testing people knowledge as well. But yeah, they mimic the wolf, um and it's doing their battle style, you know what I'm saying? And the wolf was in Remish, it was a war deity at one particular time, and I'll talk about that a little bit in this upcoming presentation that I'm going to be doing probably next week on Kofi Paisai TV. It's dealing with another Netra. So it's going to be full of a lot of information, but I'll be going into a lot of other different things besides just dealing with this one Netra. But this one Netra, this information I'm going to cover that I'll be going in other areas with, it's still surrounded around this particular Netra that I'll be talking about. I see anybody that don't have any more. Cause yes, and I talked about that on the first presentation, Sutek, how the people in Remich learn how to build out of mud. They learned from the ants and the termites. And I showed you a picture of the termite mound. I showed you a picture of the ant mound. They mimic and they watched and they studied how these ants and these termites was able to build these different mounds. So this is how we get the first Najet, the Najet, what we call the mastabots, which mastabot again is an Arabic word which means bench. They build these structures out of mud to house the deceased in that was built out of mud. They look just like a bench. That's why when the Arabs got there, they call them mastabots, and mastabots only mean bench. It looked like bench, but they call it the Najet. And then from there they went from the mud stage into the lime and brick stage, where you start to see from the transition from the third period from Zoser and Imhotep having built, and you start to go into Honey, and these other different suits until you get to Khufu, Minra, Khufu, Khepera, and Menkaure, when you get into the three great pillars of Giza, where you start to get these perfect geometric pyramids, pyramids and etc. So yes, we learned how to build from looking at animals. We learned a lot of things looking at animals, emulating animals, studying the techniques and animals. And even when we talk about the totems, a lot of these different African tribes adopted a lot of these different animals. So a lot of these animals were spared as well. So they wouldn't kill these certain animals. Now, when you deal with, I think it was particularly, it might have been the Shan people or the Shawnee people. I'm not either one of those two particular ethnic African groups. The leopard was the only one. The leopard was one of the totems, but it was able to be killed if it was for the king, if it was for the priest, yes, if it was for the king or for the priest, and they wore leopard. Leopard represents some type of royal status as well, but the leopard was off, doing it. During the Shawnee, the totem was the animal totem was a lion as well. So the animal was not able to be. The animal was not to be killed or hunted. The lion was not to be killed or hunted as well. And they said it was an interface or intermediate as the ancestors. The animal, the lion was there in their society to protect them, and that's what the ancestors does. Once they leave, they are still amongst the living, and they are there to protect the society, to protect civilization, to protect the tribes, to protect the clans, to protect the families, and etc. The birds was highly revered in a lot of the African traditions as well. The bird was also used as a messenger, as well as the chameleon, as well as the lizard, as I shared in part one. And the birds, the hawks, the eagles, the falcon was also a representation of royal status. And you can say that the falcon or the bird was also a totem, animal totem in North Africa, as well with the Remich and other different cultures as well as the baboon and other cultures. The leopard, the lizard was also a totem to the Ashanti people. I think, and the lizard was also a totem to the people, to the Akan people, as well as we know the spider was also a totem. But that's all I have, man. Nobody have the XPs, also called the leopard. Yeah, also called the Leopard Society. I think Brother Ben did a presentation on the Leopard Society too. It's on my Sorority Clan channel, so y'all go check out that presentation as well. What I got up here now, man, is just, I want to kind of continue to promote my little website, put in some hard work with these articles. So please go check out Kofi Paisai written composition.wordpress.com, Kofi Paisai written compositions. So I have about 6 articles up here that I publish on my own website. The latest one that I got out that I did last week is called The Pouring of Libations. You can't mention libation without mentioning the ancestors. So go check out that article, as well as these other great articles that I have on here. And a few of them I said I was going to repost, especially on good character. So I have 2 of them just kind of dealing with the conscious community and what's going on in the conscious community, but also surrounding the questions about the conscious community and good character, as well as the one that's dealing with acknowledging someone's being. You got to have good character also to acknowledge someone's being. So that comes with having good character as well. So I said I was going to repost 2 of those articles last week, but didn't get a chance to repost 2 of those articles. But go check out those articles. Those are some great articles. Go ahead, Sean.
Are you demonstrating, Ma'at, if you are intentionally manipulating the ignorance of people and selling them on things that are not indigenous to the actual culture of the Remech?
It's bad character, especially if you know better. Especially if you know when you continue to spread false information, false lies to benefit you or to gravitate toward a certain audience, because most of the people in the conscious community, just sad to say, we use the word awake we use the word conscious to be aware, which means to be aware. But a lot of the people in the conscious community is not aware. A lot of the people in the conscious community won't even spend $20 to buy a book, and most of them won't even take an hour out of their time to read a book. A lot of people in the conscious community is not going to go back and verify nothing none of these other individuals is saying on the platform, because most of the platforms won't even give you the sources. We give you sources, and we don't mind you venting and going through the sources. We don't mind you critiquing our work. That's is the only, I don't mind, especially me. I'm speaking for myself. That is the only way I'm able to get better. If you're able to critique my information, if you're able to vent my sources, you know what I'm saying? If I fall short somewhere, then I have no problem with going back. That's why I put a disclaimer out there, and I have no I have no problem with going back and changing my viewpoints, my stance, or changing the information. So yes, it's bad character. I'm gonna even ask the question. I even ask the question that bothers me is it bad character for a person that knows that, where is it bad character for another individual, person, or a group to go on another platform that also that they know that spread misinformation, that spread lies, that disrespects the community on a base, on the regular, and is continuously stealing and scheming from this so-called conscious community or social media community? Is it bad for those individuals? Is that bad character on their part to go on these other platforms? I've been wanting to ask this question. I said I was going to do another write-up about bad character and give certain type of examples of what or even just ask questions. Is this bad character? I may be wrong. I feel like it's bad character, but YouTube brothers on the platform, or even individuals in you know what I'm saying, that's watching, am I wrong for saying that the people that goes on these different platforms, I don't care how smart you may be, how intelligent you may be, how many publications that you may have, what group you may associate yourself with. I'm speaking for myself too, but it's not excluding me. Is it bad character? Especially, I just speak for myself. Is it bad character for me, for Kofi Paisai, to go on a platform that I know and everybody knows that spreads pseudo information, false information? Is about entertaining the people, and it is scheming and lying to the community and disrespecting the community on a regular, and playing on the community intelligent, because they know that a lot of the individuals in this community, just like the churches do, they play on the people intellect, because they know most of the people is not going to go and verify anything that the pastor, the preacher is saying. You know what I'm saying? They know they're gullible. I can say anything and make it sound real good because I'm speaking with proper rhetoric. I'm speaking with logic. So therefore, they're going to believe whatever I have to say, because they're not going to go do a damn thing anyway. They're not going to go buy the books. They're not going to even take this one book that we got and go through it and read a big book in its totality and try to get an understanding and vent what I'm saying to see what I'm saying is actually accurate or I am in error. So am I in fault if Kofi Paisai TV, if I'm demonstrating bad character if I go on a platform like that is continuously scheming and scamming from the community, is continually spreading false information, and notice spreading false information that is steady entertaining people, whether it's cussing, fussing, talking about your mama, killing somebody, biting somebody damn ear out, whatever the case may be, being disrespectful, is that bad character? Would that be bad character on my part?
You want to answer to that?
Yeah, I want to answer.
That was a long soliloquy.
So I'm sorry.
I'm gonna give you the short and skinny. Some people would argue that they are combating misinformation by going on there and dealing with what they're dealing with. Some could argue that based on the logic of that, because everybody knows that it's a gift and a curse, but it's also a biblical perspective, a revelation for many. It's judgment at that point, because I was in a discussion the other day, uh, a brief discussion, and that came up. They were the person that I was having the discussion with was supposed to go on there and do a show on that Friday night. However, after reviewing the previous show, he stated that he just can't do it. He can't go on that show. It's not going to go on after something like that, and not deal or address the misinformation that had been spewed prior to them coming on, and they didn't want to take the time out of energy into dealing with that craziness that had happened the night before. So he just kind of removed himself from having that type of discussion and opted into just doing a separate show or build on their own platform. So I would say that the people that have gone, and I know what you're referring to, so the people that have gone in reference to that was kind of like I mentioned earlier, you know what I mean, acting in the sense of rock, trying to overthrow a pep. But it's kind of hard because, in the end, the way that whole platform is set up, it is set up to flood you out. So no matter how much truth you get, or how much, I won't say truth, how much evidence that you could put forth in front of the people is going to be condemned as non-entertaining, boring, and the lack thereof. So it's not a sellable product to people who want to be entertained. It's like, that's why, the people who are actually putting out the correct information or in the know, who are actually standing on the principles and things of that nature that have been put forth by the great ancestors and people who have come before us. You don't get the viewership as a fool would get. So it's a gift and a curse. But I would say that it's not bad character to go on another platform of ignorance. Now, if you go on there and you just being ignorant with the ignorance, then yes. But if you're going on there and you're actually presenting or you're actually correcting some information from a previous build or a previous disturbance or something, or attempting to correct the attempted slander that has come forth to you when you're named directly involved in that, then absolutely you should face the people, and you should address that slander and that misrepresentation of your name and correct it, no matter who it is or what they say. So that's why I say it's a gift and a curse. Now, with that being said, I mean, I wouldn't intentionally walk into that particular perspective. I know we've had a conversation in reference to, as a collective, doing something, but as you can see, that never came into fruition because the person on the other end of that was never going to pull the trigger, or has no interest in really pulling the trigger to flood their platform with correct information, with the history of West Africa, with some real Tep Hesed correct method, dealing with ancient Kemet and the Remech. They don't want that. What they want is this spiritual aspect, something, sellable, commercialization of Kemet. They want to be able to sell that. They want to be able to beat up the Hebrews. They want to be able to joke with the Moors and the Aboriginals, and they want to be able to poke fun sometimes at the different aspects of other people who think they're conscious, but they're really not. So that's why I like Smash songs so much. You're supposed to be conscious because it speaks to the actual heartbeat of the community. I mean, put the song on and listen to what he's talking about. Like, really listen. Like, tune the beat out and listen to his words. He really telling y'all what's really going on with y'all. And or I wouldn't say y'all, hypothetically speaking, but the community. So you got to deal with what you got to deal with, man. And that was long. I was long-winded as you are, but that's my short and skinny. So tell.
Yeah, I agree with. I'm in the middle now because I see what your point was. I agree with Kofi to a certain extent because I'm of the background of you know, if I don't rock with you, I don't care what you got going on your platform. I'm not watching it. I'm not participating, and I damn sure ain't going on there. And that's with anything, you know, that's with anything or anybody. I'm not supporting your work. And I gotta have a good reason to feel that way, you know what I'm saying? And then on the flip side, I see what Sean says, when you battle misinformation. But we all know, we all know that it's gonna be misinformation on every platform. So, you don't want to spread yourself too thin, and you don't want to use that as an excuse to be on that particular platform, quote unquote, you battling misinformation. You know what I'm saying? I just, it's I don't know, it's just a personality thing. Like, you that type of person that, you don't care about that type of stuff, and you want to do that, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? I can only speak for what I would do in my situation. And I ain't passing judgment on the brothers that do get on there and do what they do. I don't pass judgment on them because, that's them. That ain't me. I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, that's me.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, Sean, I see Sean's point of view too. I mean, I understand where he's coming from too, on that too. So yeah, it just all depends on what the situation is. Yeah, it just all depends on what the situation is, man. But
and then even when Sean said somebody mentioned your name. Now, if somebody mentioned your name, that's a different thing. I feel like if somebody was to mention my name on there, I don't know. Damn, would I get on there? I'm trying to think now. I mean, it just depends on the situation. If it's so slanderous to where the community need answers, I swallow my pride and I get on there, address the information, address the misinformation, and then I will move forward. That's why I said I'm kind of in the middle. I don't like being on the fence about subjects, but like if somebody say my name, you got to defend that. You know what I'm saying? Or even if it's your work, you got to defend it. So I don't know, man. It's a situational thing with me.
yeah, I mean, I see that too. It'll be, I'm speaking for me, it would kind of be hard for me. And the reason why is like you said, if I don't rock with you, I don't rock with you. You know what I'm saying? If you don't rock with me, I ain't mad with you because you don't rock with me. And I don't have that. I don't have friends, bro. You know what I'm saying? And the people that I used to call myself friends, or sometimes I may associate with, I ain't finna call them and be like, man, I'm finna come over your house, and I ain't talked to them in a long period of time. And far as, going on, these platforms, even if like it maybe if somebody, slander my name, yeah, I might would have if push came to shove. But far as like misinformation, you know what I'm saying, addressing some misinformation, you know what I'm saying, I probably wouldn't go on it, because even when you try to combat the misinformation, you know what I'm saying, certain platforms, you know what I'm saying, a platform in particular, we consider boring. So anytime we on this particular platform, even if you dropping jewels, you know what I'm saying, and you showing, you know what I'm saying, the flaws and certain misinformation and errors, I mean, you're gonna be cut short. I'm not gonna go on my time, you know what I'm saying, and try to combat the misinformation, but then I'm getting cut every time. Every time I start going in the spiel, you cut me off with something else. You cut me off with something else. So I need to get on you, you know what I'm saying? Or you not letting me speak, somebody else now on the phone, and now it's turning into a battle royal rumble, and it's not even what the show was about. A person coming on to educate the people, you know what I'm saying, an aspect on the misinformation, and give them a proper way of methodology, or a proper way to use methodology, you know what I'm saying, to combat a lot of this misinformation, you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't do it, man. I just wouldn't do it. But like I said, Paul is my name. I probably would go on and slander, man. I don't even know how we got all on this, man. We we got all on other people's platforms and good character, man. And this was about the importance of why animals were so important in African culture, man. But we can talk about that. I know I could talk about this all day, man.
Kofi. But it goes back to why animals were so important, because certain animals were considered what? Chaotic.
Yeah.
Some animals were not considered
right.
chaotic.
Yeah, true.
So it still deals with how things are viewed and with the African consciousness. So it's one and the same if you look at it, how things were viewed in numerous cultures. You know what I mean? Like some people painted a picture of the king of the jungle, or who was the king of the jungle?
They said the lion will.
Right. But why would the lion be the king? What? You see what I'm saying?
Crazy thing about that, though, lions don't even be in jungles. I mean, if you really think about it,
yeah,
lions don't be in no jungle. Not the lion that we talking about.
Right. Absolutely. So, I just think that it all ties into something, because I've seen Africans walking with lions. So where the heck is all of this at? They walking alongside lions. They just, you just seen some other lions just running up on a cage trying to eat the white people. But I ain't gonna hold nobody up, man. Good show.
Yeah, man, we finna go on in it, man. Appreciate, man, everybody for tuning in. Same spiel, same spiel. Appreciate y'all time, cause y'all could have been doing anything else with y'all time, but y'all tune in and listen. So what we had to talk about, man, if you missed part 1, go check out part 1. Part 1 was damn good, Part 2, I appreciate y'all. If y'all missed some of part 2, go back and watch part 2 to catch up. Or if you missed almost all of part 2, go back and watch part 1 and then come back and watch part 2. And y'all, we out of here, man. We'll see y'all next time, man. We'll see y'all next week. Sean, we'll see y'all next week on the Mossy. And we'll see y'all next week on Kofi Pasa TV. Sean got something on the Mossy next week. I got a nice one on Kofi Pasa TV, man. So y'all just stay tuned, man. And Black African Power, family. Peace. We out of here.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself, because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
I'm repping my team, red, black, and green. Queens and kings, salute, now scream, I share. Green, purple, I share. I'm repping my team, red, black, and green. Queens and kings, salute, now scream, I share. I share.